Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. My namaskars and good wishes to all of you. We'll be commencing our proceedings in a few minutes, maybe a couple of minutes. We are awaiting the arrival of one of our senior Swamis who's supposed to come. He should be here any moment. Until then, I'm sure our young students today who must be very eager to receive their passing out certificates from the guests this afternoon in this function. So even as I'm speaking, our dignitaries have arrived. They'll all take their seats on the dais and then we can commence our proceedings. Just another minute or two. Huh? Can you all please rise on your seats?
We are privileged and blessed today by the presence of revered Swami Bhajananandaji Maharaj. He is one of the very senior vice presidents, and his connection with the university begins since the very inception, and he is also a member of the Ramakrishna Mission governing body, which is the sponsoring society of the university.
Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. This is a very ancient Vedic mantra which by your very roughly translated means from the apparent lead me to the real, from the darkness of ignorance lead me to illumination, to knowledge, to light, and from death give me immortality. My respectful pranams to revered Bhajananandji Maharaj, a senior vice president of the Ramakrishna Sangha. My revered pranams to Swami Subiranandaji Maharaj, the general secretary of the Ramakrishna Math and Mission, and the chancellor of this university. My pranams to Swami Atmapriyanandaji, the pro vice chancellor of the university. My pranams and respectful pranams to all the seniors in this audience. My namaskars and good wishes to other monastic members. Namaskars and good wishes to the guest in chief of this evening of this function, Professor Kamakoti. And last but not the least, my namaskars and good wishes to all of you assembled here this afternoon. We are just about to commence the 18th convention of the Ramakrishna Mission, RKMVERI as it is called, Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute, a deemed university. Before we begin the proceedings, I will give you a one-line introduction about the people seated on the dais. Farthest from me is Swami Kaleshananda, the registrar of this university. Next to him is Swami Atmapriyanandaji, the pro vice chancellor of this university. To his left is Swami Subiranandaji, the general secretary of the Ramakrishna Math and the Ramakrishna Mission and chancellor of the university. To his left is Swami Bhajananandji Maharaj, revered vice president of the Ramakrishna Sangha, and I just told to you, the member of the governing body of the Ramakrishna Mission, which is the founding institution of the Ramakrishna RKMVERI. Next to him is Professor Ramakoti, Dr. Professor V. Kamakoti, Director IIT Madras, the guest in chief of this convocation. To his left, is Sarvottamanandaji Maharaj, the vice chancellor of the deemed university, and to nearest to me, Swami Shastri Vidyanandaji, deputy controller of examinations of the university. We will begin with Vedic invocation by brahmacharyans of this university.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sahana Vavato Sahano Bhunakto Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhetamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhadram Karnebhih Shrunuyama Devaah Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraah Sthirairangai Stushtovagumsastanubhih Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuh Swasti na Indro Vriddhashravah Swasti nः Pusha Vishwavedaः Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemiः Swasti no Brihaspatirdadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Yaschandasam Rishabho Vishwarupah Chandobhyodhyamritaat sambabhuva Samendro Medhaya asprinoto Amritasya devadharano bhuyasam Shariram me vicharshanam Jivva me madhumattama Karna abhyam bhuri vishnuvam Brahmana koshosi medhaya pihitaha Shrutam me gopaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. ॐ मेधादेवे जुषमाणा न आगाद् विश्वाचे भद्रासु मनस्यमाना त्वया जुष्टानुदमाना दुरुक्तान् बृहद्वदेम विदथे सुबीराः त्वया जुष्टऋषिर्भवति देवि त्वया ब्रह्मा गतश्रीरुतत्वया त्वया जुष्टश्चित्रं विन्दते वसुसानो जुषस्वद्रविणो न मेधे मेधां म इन्द्रो ददातु मेधां देवी सरस्वती मेधां मे अश्विना वुभावा धत्तां पुष्करस्रजा अप्सरासु च या मेधा गन्धर्वेषु च यन्मनः दैवे मेधा सरस्वती सामा मेधा सुरभिर्जुषताग स्वाहा आमा मेधा सुरभिर्विश्वरूपा हिरण्यवर्णा जगति जगम्या ऊर्जस्वती पयसा पिन्वमाना सामा मेधा सुप्रतीकाजुषन्ताम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीरामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु
I will now request the Pro Vice Chancellor, Sumatma Priyanandji, to give the address of welcome.
ॐ तं देशिकेन्द्रं परमं पवित्रं विश्वस्य पालं मधुरं यतीन्द्रं हिताय नृणां नरमूर्तिमन्तं विवेक आनन्दमहं नमामि नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे Revered Swami Bhajananandaji Maharaj, who is the senior vice president of the Ramakrishna Mutt and the Ramakrishna Mission, and being a member of the governing body of the Ramakrishna Mission, which is the sponsoring society of the university, we feel blessed by his presence. Swami Subiranandaji, who is the chancellor of Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational Research Institute, being the general secretary of the Ramakrishna Mutt and the Ramakrishna Mission. And we have also Swami Sarvottamananda, who is the vice chancellor, Swami Kaleshananda, the registrar, Swami Shastravidyananda, who is the deputy controller, and we have very senior monks of the dais. One is Swami Ganganandaji, who is just 90 years old, he said, going young, 90 years young, and he is very enthusiastic about the university. He comes often here. So we are blessed by his presence, and all the revered monks, the dear brahmacharins, faculty members of this university from the Belur and the Narendrapur campuses, and my dear students, particularly those who will be receiving their degrees and diplomas today. So today is a blessed day, the foundation of this university, 4th of July. It is very dear to the American disciples of Swami Vivekananda, once I asked a very senior Swami, who was the vice president of the Ramakrishna order, why this particular day was chosen. Because we normally in the Ramakrishna order do not celebrate, even observe, the day of Mahasamadhi of Sri Ramakrishna Swami Vivekananda. 4th of July is the foundation day of the Ramakrishna Mission Vidya Mandira, which is the first venture of Ramakrishna Mission, the higher education. Swami Virajananda of revered memory, he was the president at that time. He was persuaded by Miss Josephine MacLeod, a very dear disciple of Swami Vivekananda, who chose to call herself a friend of Vivekananda, not a disciple. She persuaded Swami Virajanandaji that 4th of July should be the date on which the higher education venture should begin. Because 4th July, as you know, is a very important day for Americans, being the American Independence Day. And that is the reason that this day was chosen. And we also, the university, we chose this day, 4th of July, as the birthday of the university. A birthday in a very mystical sense also, because this was the very day, 4th of July 1902, that Swami Vivekananda said to Swami Premanandaji, who was a dear brother disciple, প্রাচীন ভারতীয় ধারা বজায় রেখে তার সঙ্গে আধুনিক জ্ঞান বিজ্ঞানের অনুশীলন যাতে হয় এমন একটি বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় বেলুড় মঠের প্রাঙ্গণে গড়ে তুলতে হবে। Keeping the ancient Indian spiritual ideal intact and blending it harmoniously with modern science, we should establish a university in the precincts of Belur Math. So this was born in the mind of Vivekananda on 4th of July. So in that sense, it is fitting that this happens to be the birthday of this university. This university is a multi-campus university, as everybody knows. It has now, apart from the Belur main campus, 3 campuses. One is Tamil Nadu at Coimbatore, the other is Narendrapur in West Bengal, and the third is Ranchi in Jharkhand. So these 3 off-campus centers devoted to different faculties are part of this university. They are constituents of this university, according to the UGC, University Grants Commission. All the programs, academic programs of this university, are in a sense unique. In the beginning, we wanted to choose areas which we call the gap areas. In the sense, these areas are not addressed normally by other conventional universities in India. These gap areas, one is that is a criterion for choosing the thrust areas. One is it should be a gap area. Second, that this area should directly impact the life of common man and enhance the quality of life of those particularly underprivileged and marginalized sections of society. The third criterion was a Ramakrishna Mission with a huge network of centers should have already developed these areas to quite an extent, so that with a little fine-tuning and trying to enhance the infrastructural facilities of these centers, we should be able to start a university. We chose certain thrust areas which developed later on into 5 schools. One more was added later on. One is School of Indian Heritage and the other School of Mathematical Sciences. These 2 schools are housed at Belur. This once again, Swami Vivekananda's vision that the ancient and the modern, the best elements of the East and West should be harmoniously blended. The third was at Coimbatore, rehabilitation and sports sciences, devoted to disability education and adapted physical education and yoga, which is also a unique area. Universities do not normally address this particular area. The third one is a School of Agriculture and Rural and Tribal Development. These are programs in Ranchi, at Jharkhand, and at Narendrapur in West Bengal. And we have also a unique area, Environment and Disaster Management, at Narendrapur. And one more we added a couple of years ago, School of Biological Sciences and we are contemplating the starting of School of Health Sciences, in which will be subsumed some courses which are already being run under the biological sciences. So this is the vision of the university, and we also have several centers of interdisciplinary character, and all of them, every word of what we are trying to do completely comes from Swami Vivekananda's educational vision. Swami Vivekananda said, we want that education by which character is formed and a complete integrated personality is created in the student. What is the integrated personality according to Swami Vivekananda? He said, heart to feel, head to think, and hands to work. The 3 H's, which is jnana, bhakti, karma, and it will be reinforced by yoga or contemplation or concentration. So with this idea, we have started all the educational institutions of Ramakrishna Mission. They have the same vision, same agenda, actualizing Swami Vivekananda's educational vision. With this vision we started, and we are going strong. By the blessings of Swami Vivekananda, we hope to be performing still better in future. The only idea being the country is in crying need of people who have impeccable character energy. We have everything in India. India has so much of resource, so much of brain power and manpower. Unfortunately, we are lacking in the power of character, which was main forte. So once again, the education should revive this. We have been having policies, we have been having several documents produced, but it can come through the direct touch of a teacher whose character is fully formed. That was Swami Vivekananda's vision. He said, Vedanta with the modern education, sciences, and brahmacharya as the forte, that is purity, unselfishness, and with that, a person will feel for the country and how the country can come up. Swami Vivekananda therefore said, let's work hard, my brethren. This is no time for sleep. On our hard work depends the coming of the India of the future. She is there, ready, waiting, but she is only sleeping. Arise and awake and see her seated in the eternal throne, more glorious than she ever was, this motherland of ours. So on this day, it's my great pleasure to be welcoming all of you, all the senior Swamis in the dais, of the dais, the faculty, and all the students who will be receiving their degrees today, diplomas today, and all the students, all the parents and the guardians who have come today, the proud parents of these people. So welcome, swagatam, suswagatam.
Thank you, Revered Maharaj, for the very inspiring and uplifting words of welcome. In fact, I've been calling him Pro-Vice Chancellor. I'm sorry, it's Pro-Chancellor of the university. Thank you, Maharaj. And now I would request, I would request now to offer floral greetings to our assembled guests here. First, I request General Secretary Maharaj Swami Subiranandaji to welcome our guest in chief today, Dr. Kamakoti, with a flower bouquet. With a flower bouquet, please. So Mahatma Priyanandaji, garlanding our Vice President, Swami Bhajanandaji Maharaj. He generally is very photo shy. He doesn't like all this publicity. Please bear with us, Maharaj. I now request Swami Subhirananji Maharaj, our revered General Secretary, to welcome our guest in chief, Dr. Kamakoti, with a flower bouquet. I now request Swami Sarvottamanandaji Maharaj to welcome Swami Subhirananji with another flower bouquet. Thank you, Maharaj. I would now request once again Swami Atmapriyanandaji Maharaj, the Pro-Chancellor of the University, to render the administration of oath pledged to the students in Sanskrit and in English.
Since the inception of this university, we have started a healthy tradition, which is the students coming in will have certain vows, certain mantras, and while going out, once again they will reiterate those mantras and confirm they have been able to approximate to this ideal. This is called Upakrama and Upasamhara in Shadvida Linga in Mimamsa, followed by Vedanta also, that what you begin, you end with the same. So in the beginning we have Vidyarthi Vrata. The students take Vidyarthi Vrata, the 5 mantras. At the end, once again, Dikshanta Pratigya, they promise they will also abide by these mantras. I request all the students who are going to graduate today, please rise in your seats with these mantras. I don't expect you to repeat after me, because without practice it is not easy. These 5 mantras are based upon the mantras composed by Swami Nirvedanandaji, one of his illustrious monks, the founder of Bulgaria Calcutta Students' Home. That once again was based upon the mantras composed by Swami Ramakrishnanandaji for the brahmacharis of Ramakrishna order. The model is the same. There are 5 mantras. The first mantra relates to physical health, that the body should be strong. I keep the body and my health very carefully. I'll preserve the health so that I will be able to work hard for the good of humanity. Second is about Swadhyaya and Pravachana. What I have studied myself, this will now become the Swadhyaya later on. You have been doing Paradhyaya under the instructions of your teachers. Now you have to do self-study and share this knowledge with everybody. This is Pravachana. The third is about truthfulness. Satyameva Jayate. Fourth is about unselfishness. And the last one, you should be able to be a successful component of a large organization or society and the nation wherever you are. You should be able to gel with everybody and harmoniously work with the team spirit. So I will read one after the other, and I will expect you simply to say Om as the traditional Upanishads, just to assent that you are promising that you will keep these vows in your lives. First mantra, Shariramadhyam khalu dharma sadhanam iti niti vakyam avadharya Shrama Kshama Seva Samartha Niroga Shariraya Swasthya Palana Paro Bhavitumaham Yatha Sadhyam Yatishye. Prayer. Tejosi Tejomayi Dhehi Viryamasi Viryamayi Dhehi Balamasi Balammayi Dhehi Ojosi Ojomayi Dhehi Manyurasi Manyummayi Dhehi Sahosi Sahomayi Dhehi Peshayo me lauha sama bhavantu Snayavo me ayam siva bhavantu Hridayam me vajrasaram bhavatu. English translation. Contemplating the wise dictum that the body is the first and foremost instrument of the practice of dharma, I will strive my best to follow all the rules relating to the maintenance of good health, to develop a healthy and strong physique that is capable of hard work and service. Prayer. O Lord, you are the embodiment of illumined understanding. Grant me a pure and luminous mind. You are the embodiment of fortitude. Grant me fortitude. You are the embodiment of physical energy and vitality. Grant me physical strength and vitality. You are the embodiment of ojas, life energy. Grant ojas unto me. You are the embodiment of indignation, anger against injustice. Grant me the strength to stand up against injustice. You are the embodiment of forbearance. Grant me forbearance. May I be endowed with muscles of iron and nerves of steel, inside which dwells a mind that is like the thunderbolt. All of you please say Om loudly. Second mantra. Swadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam iti shrutivachanam avadharya swadhyaya parayano jnana yagya nishtha sarvada bhavitumaham yatha sadhyam yatishye medha devi jushamana na agaad vishvachi bhadra sumanasya tvaya jushta nudamana duruktaan brihadvadema vidase suvira. Contemplating the Upanishadic dictum, namely, do not neglect study and teaching. I will always strive my best to be devoted to study, cultivation and sharing of my knowledge with others. Prayer. May the goddess of Medha, the subtle intelligence capable of intuiting higher truths, who is profound and capable of delving deep into any branch of knowledge, who is the source of all goodness and well-being, who is full of benediction, being delighted, come to us. O Goddess, may we, who had been enjoying useless speech like gossip, rumor mongering, etc., before you came into our hearts, become enlightened by being blessed by you and become capable of engaging in elevating and ennobling discussions in the company of our heroic sons and disciples and of expressing the supreme truths. Please say Om loudly. Third mantra. Satyame vajayate nanritam satyena pantha vitato devayanaha iti shrutivakyam avadharya kayena manasa vacha satyaparayano bhavitumaham yatha sadhyam yatishye asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma amritam gamaya. Translation. Contemplating the Upanishadic dictum, namely, truth alone triumphs, not untruth. The divine path extends through truth. I will strive my utmost to be devoted to truth in all possible ways, in body, speech, and mind. Prayer. From untruth, lead me into truth. From darkness, lead me into light. From death, lead me into immortality. Oh, thank you. Fourth mantra. Parahitaya pararthaya yajivati sayeva jivati anyetu jivan mritaha iti Srimad Vivekananda Swaminam sumahadvajanam samsmritya nichata krurata dambhikatadi malinasvartha santatir vihaya udara cheta vinayi shraddhavan nara narayana seva nishtho bhavitumaham yatha sadhyam yatishye yan yanavajjani karmani tani sevitavjani no itarani atmopamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham va yadi va dukkham sayogi paramo matah iti shruti smrityadesha vachana jatam tatha atmavat sarvabhuteshu sampashyet iti isha krishna vakyancha anusthana parayanena sadaiva maya bhavyam. Remembering the wonderful great saying of Swami Vivekananda, namely, they alone live who live for others, the rest are more dead than alive. I will strive my utmost to renounce all debasing selfish emotions like pettiness, cruelty, conceit, etc., and become large-hearted, humble, endowed with Shraddha, devoted to the service of all beings as embodiments of the divine. May I devotedly follow the sayings of Vedas and the Gita, as well as Jesus Christ, and always live up to them. What are these sayings? Only those works that are blemishless should be performed and not any other. Taittiriya Upanishad. O Arjuna, one who has the sameness of vision everywhere, looking upon everything, be it pleasurable or painful, as the image of one's own self, is the supreme yogi. Gita. Do unto others as you would, they would do unto you, the Holy Bible. Last mantra. Suparichalita samhati shaktireva samaja kalyana nidanam ataha aikya pratishtha mulakan samhati shakti jagaranatmakan sangachhadvam samvadadvam samvo manamsi janatam saha viryam karavavahi ma vidvishavahi ityadi shrutyadeshanavadharya sadupaya parahasannaham samaja bhuktaihi sarvaihi aikyabadho bhavitum bahujana hitaya bahujana sukhaya yatha sadhyam yatishye. The welfare of the society depends on well-managed organizational power. Therefore, contemplating the following Vedic dicta that seek to establish unity of purpose and arouse the power of unified thought and action, namely, may you all march forward together. May all your speech have a common focus. May your minds and thoughts vibrate in unison. May we strive together in a common endeavor. May there be no disharmony between us. We will always and in all circumstances strive my utmost to function harmoniously with perfect understanding and unison with all my colleagues, co-workers, fellow travelers in life, for the welfare of the many, for the happiness of the many. Prayer. Sankalpeshu yeshu paramatma me sahayo bhavatu yesha me bhavatu shubhaya bhavatu shivaya bhavatu kshemaya tasmai paramatmane namaha om vishwani deva savitaru duritani parasuva yad bhadram tanma asuva. Translation. May the Supreme Being always help me to be faithful to these vows which I have now taken. May He be compassionate and auspicious to me in my endeavor to keep these vows. O effulgent Being, remove all my blemishes and grant unto me all that is auspicious and good. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Om, peace, peace, peace. May this whole exercise be an offering unto Sri Ramakrishna. Thank you. Please sit down.
Thank you, Revered Atmapriyananji Maharaj, Pro-Chancellor of the University, for administering the oath to these young students. And my humble request to the young students, if you hold on to this pledge given to you in letter and in spirit, it will stand you in very good stead in life. Please try to hold on to them. And now we have to come to the convocation address to be given by our guest in chief, Professor V. Kamakoti. But before we go into that, I would like to read out a brief introduction of our guest of this evening in this convocation, Dr. V. Kamakoti. As most of you know, Professor Kamakoti, he is a PhD in computer science and is presently director at IIT Madras, the Indian Institute of Technology at Madras. Interestingly, his life has been governed by music and religion. Their family is devoted to the Shankaracharya of the Kanchi Mutt. Kamakoti lived his early life with his grandparents in Vishnupuram, a village in Thiruvarur district of Tamil Nadu. The formative years were important as he learned the intricacies of growing crops and understanding tough rural life. He said later in an interview, "My father made me understand that luxury is artificial poverty and simplicity is natural wealth." This is a wonderful teaching. All of us can learn from this. Then he moved back to Chennai for his primary and high school studies and later studied in the renowned PS Senior Secondary School in Mylapore, Chennai, which is in fact among the top 5 schools in Chennai and just opposite our Chennai Mutt the Ramaketa Mutt in Chennai. His teachers gave him a very good grounding in maths and physics, which enabled him to score 99.5% in his CBSE 12th standard examination. Music is very close to his heart. Louder, louder. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Music is close to his heart. He remembers that the violin came into his life because of his father, who practically thrust a violin into his hands during his student days. Kamakoti was charmed with Carnatic music. The world-famous singer M.S. Subbulakshmi was a family friend and greatly influenced and encouraged Kamakoti's music love. Professor Kamakoti received his MS and PhD degrees in computer science and engineering from IIT Madras. He joined the faculty of IIT Madras in 2001 and took over as its director in January 2022. He is a member of the National Security Advisory Board, and he proposed a solution for tracing the origin of WhatsApp messages. You all know about it. Under Dr. Kamakoti, many new initiatives have been proposed in the recent years at IIT Madras, 2 of which are really innovative and revolutionary. The first one is to bring maths and science education to 100 villages in India using virtual reality to bridge the knowledge gap between students from urban and rural areas. And the second one is Anaivarukkum IIT Madras, the IIT Madras for All initiative, Chobarjolno IIT Madras, which connects 1 lakh government rural school students to electronic devices. He led the research team that designed and booted up India's first indigenously developed microprocessor, Shakti, that can be used in mobile computing devices and networking systems. Dr. Kamakoti is a recipient of DRDO Academic Excellence Award, Indian Electronics and Semiconductor Association Techno Visionary Award, Abdul Kalam Technology Innovation National Fellowship, ACCS, that is Advanced Computing and Communication Systems, Communication Society, ACCS Lifetime Achievement Award, the IBM Faculty Award, and Vasvik Industrial Research Award. I can go on, but I'm cutting short. He has over 150 publications in international and journals and conferences. He has guided many research scholars for their PhD and Master of Science by Research program. He has coordinated and successfully delivered close to 50 projects, 50 projects from industry and government R&D establishments. He serves in the technology committees of the National Stock Exchange and the Reserve Bank of India. Well, Professor, I sincerely hope I have not missed any important item from your short introduction. Now, Indian literature tells us that where there is assimilation of knowledge, one is humble, he is full of humility. The Sanskrit proverb says, Vidya dadati vinayam. Knowledge makes one very humble. Sri Ramakrishna also says that it is only when the crop is ripe that the stalk bends down. When the corn is unripe, the stalks stand erect. My Chennai monks tell me that our dear chief guest is really very humble. Kindly guide this audience, sir. It's over to you now.
स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. Thank you, Maharaj, for giving this introduction. Of course, you missed one very important point about me. I am an ardent devotee of the Ramakrishna Math. With reverential salutations to the lotus feet of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa Maharaj, Mother Sharda Devi, Sri Vivekanand Ji Maharaj, and all the monks for their selfless service to the cause of our great nation, the brahmacharis, the faculty, and my dearest students. I will start about my association with Ramakrishna Math. In some way, I am very jealous about many of you because I did not study in a RK Mission School. And what it means to study in the Ramakrishna Mission School, let me give you an example. I did have the fortune of residing just behind the Ramakrishna Math home in Chennai, Mylapore, which is the palace of the poor. Every day morning for 51 years, that 4:45 a.m. bell rings. The 5:15 a.m. sound comes where the students take bath. The 5:45 prayer starts. And this is for 51 years. And that is what it means to be a mission. And that is what Ramakrishna Mission brings to all of you. You can win a Nobel Prize, but what takes you along the entire life is this discipline. And you should all be indebted to the RK Mission for instilling this discipline to you at this very young age. I'm sure you will all thank them. As time proceeds, you will understand the importance of this discipline. This is a great place. Friends, today Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, is rated as the topmost research institution in the country. Believe that Swami Vivekananda was the person who inspired Tata to set up that institution. Century before, here was a person who understood that India must progress in the area of research. Here was a person who understood that quality education, quality affordable education should be available to all in an equitable manner. And that is what United Nations today says as the Sustainable Development Goals. This is something that the Ramakrishna Mission has adopted and practiced over more than a century. We are very blessed to have a Ramakrishna Mission in the country where we live. Looking at the education pattern, we have a lot of educational systems in the country. We are trying to revive our Indian knowledge system. There is an Euro or a British type of education system that had come to us as a part of the British rule. And we are trying to bring back the Indian knowledge system. And what is so distinct about the Indian knowledge system? As rightly pointed out in a small article given by the Pro-Chancellor this afternoon, this education is more natural and humanistic. If you look at what do you mean by a natural and humanistic? Friends, let us say that we are working on innovation. We are trying to open a startup company. If you ask an investor, why do you start a startup company? They say, I'm going to invest so much money, I want to get back so much money from that. This startup has to become an unicorn and we need to get back so much money. This is the vision about a startup in many parts of the world. But today, if you ask an Indian, why are you making a startup? He will go and say, I want to solve a social problem. I want to offer a solution to a social problem. And she or he will tell that if I solve that social problem, automatically money, fame, and power will come to me. That is the way education in India differs significantly from the education from other parts of the world. Education gives us selflessness. Education gives us altruism. Education gives us that we live for the society, we want to contribute to the society. And of course, that is what Bhagavad Gita says, Karmanye vadikaraste mahapaleshu kadachana. We don't look at the fruits, but fruit will come. And if the fruit doesn't come, its loss will not be felt. And this is India. Friends, today, as I look at this university, is a perfect blend of what education should be, because there are 4 pillars as I see. They strive for excellence. They instill in you the notion of a social responsibility. As I see, as I visited the labs today, it is a clear blending of both Eastern and Western thoughts. It's not that we run off from the Western thoughts, but we try to blend, we adopt the Western thoughts and try to fit it in an Eastern framework. And of course, a clear path of anything that we want to achieve. Of course, the philosophy says that there are 4 stages to achieve liberation, which is moksha. So there is a karma, you do the duty properly, and that leads to devotion or bhakti. And from there comes knowledge or jnana or wisdom. And from there you get moksha. But this is true for even your own subjects. Suppose you want to become an expert computer scientist or an expert engineer, you need to understand, you need to do your karma properly. You need to study well. And from there, you get devoted to a research issue. And from there, you start praising or you become more attached. And that's what we can call as the bhakti. And then comes the full knowledge about that system, a very strong foundation. And from which you solve the problem, the solution, we can call it as moksha. So this real path by which one has to pursue engineering, from a very traditional point of view, merging with the modern scientific thoughts, I think that's the perfect blending of education this particular institution gives you. And that is reflected in the oath that was basically rendered now, both the Sanskrit and the English translation. If you see that, it basically talks about these 4 pillars in a very significant way. Now, as a country, today, we have, so friends, 1947 we got the social and political independence, thanks to the lot of fight that our freedom fighters have put there, and all the freedom fighters have brought in this social and political independence. But technologically today, we are still dependent on many other countries. That is why our Honorable Prime Minister has repeatedly told about what we call as Atmanirbharta, which I prefer to translate it as stubborn self-sufficiency. As we march in this Amrit Kal, starting 2023 to 2047, this 25 years, there is a need for us to work very, very hard to make our country a superpower. And in 2047, many of us will be advisors or maybe wishing you all, praying for your good, but you all will be the leaders who will actually take our country to that superpower. Friends, we have to start working for it. If you look at age group of 15 to 35, we are the youngest country today. And if we fail to work hard, if we fail to get the proper education, if we fail to do our due diligence in the area of development, specifically technology, then we become a very uneducated country, the most uneducated country in the next 10 years. And that will not be a Thanksgiving Day for us. And that is precisely why there is a lot of emphasis today on education, and that is reflected in our National Education Policy 2020. If you have not looked at the National Education Policy 2020, friends, I strongly urge you to go and download it today and read that. That gives us a lot more insights of what is expected out of all of you in the next 25 years to make India a very technologically superpower in 2047. Now comes most important areas. I'm also very excited to see that this university has identified 4 important thrust areas. The first area is today certainly looks at inclusive education. What is inclusive education? Inclusive education is to provide the same quality access and affordable education to all. And in this context, there is a very big stress on what we call as disability management. Today, Divyang, what the government says, or the physically challenged people, how do we ensure a very good life for them? And that is very, very important today in a 1.4 billion large democracy growing in population, with a significant amount of population with physical challenges, learning disabilities, etc. Now there is a need for all of us to start looking at how do we provide a good way of life for all of them, because this is always, India believes on lokas samastas sukhino bhavantu. Everybody should be happy, for every individual to be happy. And this is a very, very interesting step this university has taken. The second important area is yoga. Today, we have reached the yoga to the United Nations. The Yoga Day was actually celebrated as a United Nations event. Yoga forms an integral part of our culture. This keeps us young as possible at very elderly age. This gives us the required flexibility to our body, just for a very peaceful living without dependency on others. And that is how Sarira Madhyam Kalu Dharma Sadhanam. That's the first statement that you have seen in your oath. And that yoga basically assures you that. And there is a very good stress. I also visited some labs today. Very good, interesting initiatives in the area of yoga, and I'm sure many of you would have learned some basic principles, and I request that you pass it on, you practice it, and also preach it out. The third important thing is agriculture, and there is a lot of effort that has been taken in the area of agriculture. And the last but not the least, today we are facing maximum challenges in terms of environment and disaster management, and there is a very good thrust area that is put in this particular area which the university is focusing on. Friends, I hope many of you know about the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and each of these goals are extremely important. If you want to look at an employment, even from your career perspective, say 10 years down the line, a complete understanding and orienting yourself towards sustainable development goal is very important. Even if you want to take a loan in a bank for your business, the sustainability factor is now getting evaluated. What does sustainability means? Can I lead the same life, say 10 years down the line? Will I get the same electricity? Will I be having the same type of living, or will it improve, or will it diminish? And what is it that I need to do to at least maintain the same quality of life over the next 10 years? These are some of the important questions the Sustainable Development Goals put in front of you. So, as students, I also strongly urge that you look at these Sustainable Development Goals and try to understand what it means. I'm also extremely happy that the university has been recognized by the UNESCO, and there was a UNESCO chair that has been installed in this university, specifically on inclusive adapted physical education and yoga. I also congratulate the university for having a NAC A++ grade. Very heartening to note that sports is very, very important. Always one of my very dear friends says that a gym is equivalent to 100 hospitals. So physical fitness is extremely important, and there are a lot of sports-related initiatives that is taken by this university, and I'm sure that is going to take the university to different heights. There are many PhD research problems and also many sports-related electives that could be offered for the different undergraduate and postgraduate programs in the university. And I am very heartened to note that in the Paralympics in 2024 in Paris, this university is planning to send some students to participate. And I think that's the best gift that the institution can give to the country. And I am very happy to, I am very, very confident that there'll be at least a couple of gold medals or more. And I wish advanced all the best to all the participants of this Paralympics. Next comes friend. Today, I'm a professor. I would like to ask questions. I'm sure I'll finish in next 5 minutes. So why are we today talking without a mask? Can anyone of you answer? First row, second row, third row. Why are we talking without a mask today? What has enabled us? Vaccine, correct? So vaccine is made by whom? Computer scientist or a biological scientist? Biological sciences. So the university has a very good school on biological sciences. Biology is going to become a very important ingredient down the line. So if you have young sisters or cousins or nephews, whatever, please ask them not to take computer science in their school. Ask them to study biology in the school. That's very, very important, right? Computer science can be learned at any point. I'm a professor of computer science, so I can tell you with my 22 years of experience. But please study biology. Today, biology is going to be the most important from employment perspective, from the national perspective, from a critical technology perspective. Friends, today, if really we want India to be a superpower in 2047, our imports should reduce. Even when you go to a dentist, the stick that is kept to keep your mouth open, that is also imported today. I think that whole thing has to change. There is a need for us to innovate. There is a need for us to, discover, invent, make devices that can help in very accurate diagnostics and accurate treatment process. And there is a need for a very, very deep understanding of biology, plus also an understanding for engineering. We need to start modeling the human body from an engineering perspective, and that happens, then we create a good type of people whom we can call as physician scientists, who has understood both medicine and also technology. And these are the people in the past who have been responsible for many, many important things in the history of medicine. For example, all the cause-effect relationship. Who found out that sugar causes diabetes? Who found out that smoking spoils your lung? Who found out that drinking spoils your liver? This cause-effect relationship has been found out by physician scientist, that is person, doctor plus engineer. 37% of the Nobel laureates are physician scientists, right? So these are the people who invent treatment procedures. So biological science becomes extremely important, and I'm sure the university has taken a very, very important step in this direction. And I wish that we create more, with the blend of technology and medicine, we create many, many more physician scientists, and some of you become Nobel laureates, bringing great name to the Ramakrishna mission. Friends, the two things that has really touched me in this is, one is the Viveka Vyasa. This is the Vivekananda Vedanta Yoga Adhyayana Samshodhana and Viveka Chetak, Vivekananda Chaitanya Tattva Anusandhana Kendra. So these two efforts are very important, because this is one that blends the Indian culture with the modern science. And friends, the longest journey of man is towards the innermost self. Okay, so understanding us, understanding who am I, these are very big questions. And as we progress towards that, we understand many scientific bases. A good grounding of science and engineering comes from a study of self. And I think this is the biggest blend that this institution, probably one among the very few institutions in the country or in the world, that can incorporate. And I'm sure this is going to be a very important value addition in your career. Last but not the least, there is a Vivek Disha initiative, which I saw. One is that there is a ICT-based networking of your institutions, where you are giving out online classes, there is content generation, there is value education, and there are many spiritual heritage programs for the international audience. Friends, using digital technology to reach the poor of the poorest is very, very important. What is poor? Definition of poor is not money. One who does not have knowledge is the poor. Okay, I could have crores and tons of money, but if I don't have the wisdom that will suit a crisis, I am the poorest man in the world. Right? So this is very important to reach knowledge. There is a Gita called Uddhava Gita. Uddhava is a great disciple of Lord Krishna. And Uddhava asked Krishna, when Krishna was going back to Vaikuntha, Uddhava asked Krishna, you are planning something to go back. Please give me some terminal advice before you leave. And Krishna asked you please ask me some question, I'll answer. So Uddhava asked, Ka Dakshina, what should I give to the world? Krishna replied, Jnanopadeshaha. Please share your knowledge. And that's the biggest offering that you can give. Friends, knowledge is the wealth that nobody can grab you. If you know something, nobody can erase it from your mind, unless, there can be a medical issue. So I think that is what this entire Vivek Disha is aspiring. And that's what even IIT Madras we were trying to do. We have set up 180 such rural interaction center. We put a TV, we put an internet connection there. And every day between 6 to 8, we talk to the students about higher education. There's something called gross enrollment ratio, which is number of students who have completed their school and going to college. Right? Today, our gross enrollment ratio is 26%. That is, only 26 of 100 go to the higher education. Around 74 of them drop their education at that point. And that is very dangerous for our country. Being a very young country, if 74% of our students do not go to higher education, there is a very strong chance or a sure possibility of us becoming a very uneducated country. And it is also in our own interest that we inspire young students, specifically school students, to take up higher education. And it must be in each one of you that God has given you the opportunity to become a postgraduate here, that you must in your life at least take 10 children and see that they become a graduate, undergraduate, at least an undergraduate. And we must aspire that this country, every child that is born in this country must be at least an undergraduate. This is something that we as citizens of our country, that God has given us an opportunity to learn, to get a good education. we must give back to the society in that form. And that is what, friends, this year our country has taken the G20 presidency, where all the Group 20 countries, along with more invitees, around 29 countries, have come here and debated about what we need to do together. And one very interesting statement that we have given is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We essentially say that one earth, one family, and one future. I think that is something that we should all aspire, because together we can create a lot, but when we separate, we cannot do anything. Friends, today, I'm also very happy to note that there are a lot of things that we have started at IIT Madras is very close to what the RKMVERI is doing here. And we would like to, and especially what RKMVERI can bring to a higher education institution like IITs, is to blend philosophy and technology. There is a lot of work on artificial intelligence, data science, and specifically in areas where we have the Indian knowledge system and we try to give a scientific explanation for many things that we do under the Indian knowledge system. For example, today, many of the Ayurveda drugs could have saved our country or has saved our country from the COVID pandemic. But just to go and make it an internationally acclaimed process or a treatment process, there was a lack of scientific basis. This is just an example. So there is lot in our Indian knowledge system that we are trying to bring out together, and that is something which we need to give a scientific basis for that, so that this becomes a world-renowned process. I think as a citizen of this country, it is very, very important. It is our duty to see that our knowledge system gets due recognition in the world, in the councils of the world, and we need to work for it. And I'm sure RKMVERI and IIT Madras in the years to come will take up this as a single point agenda to take our Indian knowledge systems to very great heights. With this, friends, there is an impact of science on society. A nuclear technology has resulted in a nuclear bomb and also on a nuclear reactor. The latter one gives very good power, energy for the society's best, but one nuclear bomb could annihilate everything that we have done. So there is a responsibility for every scientist, every educated person to use their knowledge in a proper manner that will benefit the society, that will give the best to the world. And I think we as Indians are very, very well tuned, very, very fine-tuned to use science in the best manner for the best of the humanity. With these nice thought process, I wish all the graduates today great success in their life, and I'm sure your stay at RKMVERI is going to be a very fruitful one. It has shaped you, and it will shape your career in future. All the lessons that you have learned will give you very good, rich dividends in the career to come. Please make it a point that you go to your villages, you go to your wherever places where you find uneducated children or children struggling to get good education, and try your best to impart good education to children. And that is the best, most important thing that our country needs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kamakoti, for your wonderful convocation address. I'm sure not only our young students here, but all of us have gained in knowledge today as a result of your wonderful speech. And especially for our young students, I would like to recapitulate a point or two which our guest-in-chief has made in this convocation about the blending of natural and humanistic education in our very institute. So please remember, education, what Swamiji wanted, was a blend of Western science and technology rooted in Indian Vedanta. That is what we try to give in the Ramakrishna Mission institutions. And as he said, he regrets not having been able to study in one of our institutions. And you people, at this young age, having come in touch with these wonderful principles of life-giving principles of Vivekananda, do not let go of this opportunity. Make the best of it. Be good individuals. Be a blessing to yourselves and to the world. One more point which Professor Kamakoti made was, in the national education policy, we have to work towards technological development. In this connection, I remember, I do not know whether many of you have read our Dr. Abdul Kalam's autobiography, Wings of Fire. It's a wonderful book, very inspiring book. I think all of you will do well to read that book. In that, Dr. Kalam says that technology respects only technology. So if you want to be a superpower, technological development is a must for all of us. Sorry for taking a lot of your time. I would now request Revered Bhajananandji Maharaj to say a few words by way of benediction.
जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रुत्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः. I came here not to give any talk without any expectation. I came here only to listen to the illuminating talk of Professor Kamakoti. But our Atma Priyanandaji and our General Secretary Maharaj, Suviranandaji, they forced me to give a few words, say a few words. Already we have listened to our Professor Kamakoti's wonderful talk. Many points are there he has stressed, and also the vratas, the 5 vows that the students, this congregation, they are supposed to take, they then follow all through their lives. These 5 vows contain everything that the students should know and follow in their lives. Only I would like to add just two points, and that is, one is the love for knowledge. Love for knowledge. This is something very much lacking, especially among Indian students. We always the utilitarian motive, our approach to knowledge, science, technology, always the utilitarian motive. What can I get out of this knowledge? How much money I can earn? That is all we generally think. And that's why, one of the reasons why fundamental research is very much lacking in India. Most of what is there nowadays, there is great importance given to creativity. Creativity will come only when the fundamentals are clear. When a person has got real love for knowledge. So the love for knowledge will come only when you feel the joy of knowledge. There is such a thing called the joy of knowledge. All those, only a person who has known the joy of knowledge alone can know. It is a kind of intoxication. Once you, any kind of knowledge, to know something new itself is a kind of joy. That joy must be there, and that alone will enable us to seek knowledge for knowledge's sake. That is the one point I would like to mention here. The second point is self-knowledge. Self-knowledge. From kindergarten to up to PhD level, the Western system of education teaches us how to acquire knowledge about the external world, how to acquire more power, more wealth, more influence. But the person himself is impoverished if he doesn't know about himself. Self-knowledge is the one thing which everyone can learn from Indian culture. This is everywhere. The fundamentals of Indian culture lies in self-knowledge. In the Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, he was puzzled by he had to face the battle, and that is a kind of psychological crisis, that existential crisis that he faced. At that time, what did Krishna do? Sri Krishna taught him self-knowledge. The second chapter, second, third, and fourth chapters of the fifth up to the sixth chapters of the Gita, they deal with self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is the whatever knowledge you may get outside. If you don't have self-knowledge, if you don't know who you are and what the powers are within you, so all this knowledge will be not of much use. It is this self-knowledge that Swami Vivekananda always stressed in his lectures everywhere. This importance of having, he used to talk about faith in oneself. In order to have faith in oneself, one must have self-knowledge first. One should have faith not in your lower capacities, lower body, physical strength, and physical achievements. One should have faith in one's higher self. That alone remains unchanging in spite of illness, in spite of vagaries of wealth and position and all that. There is one thing unchanging in all of us, and that is alone gives us the real glory, and that is the Atman, or the self. This was the discovery of the Atman, according to many Western scholars, is India's greatest contribution to world thought. Nowhere else in the world, in no other religion, in no other philosophy, you come across this idea of the Atman and Brahman, especially the idea of the Atman. So this self-knowledge must form the basis of education, and also the love for knowledge. Just to love knowledge for knowledge's sake, not for the utilitarian benefit. This is quite common in the West. In the West, people love knowledge for knowledge's sake. This is very much lacking in India. So these two things, self-knowledge and love of knowledge for knowledge's sake, these are the, I think, 2 points I would like to stress here. I came here not to attend this only to listen to Professor Kamkoti's talk, and I am very much grateful to him for the wonderful ideas that he placed before us. And I am also thankful to General Secretary Maharaj, Swami Subiranandaji, and Atma Priyanandaji for asking me to give my talk here. I offer my sincere prayers for the welfare of Sarvik Shakaler, Sarvik Kalyan, Sarvangin, Mangaler Jenu. আমি ঠাকুর মা স্বামীজির কাছে প্রার্থনা জানাই। বাস, থ্যাংক ইউ অল।
Thank you, Revered Maharaj, for your wonderful words of benediction. This was indeed a godsend. These things happen only by real divine grace. Senior Swami like him coming and giving us his words of benediction. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. My loving pranams to you on behalf of all of us. And now we will come to the next item of today's program, the Vice Chancellor's admission of the new graduates to their respective degrees.
The graduating students, please stand up on their places. I declare, as per the authority vested in me as the Vice Chancellor of this university, I hereby admit you to your degrees and diplomas with all the rights and privileges thereto appertaining, for which you have duly qualified by satisfying all the program requirements. Further, I charge you to always strive to adhere to the spirit and letter of the noble vows that you have taken on this occasion to build your lives upon the bedrock of impeccable character, thus proving worthy of this university, bearing the hallowed name of Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. Please sit down. Thank you.
Thank you, Swami Sarvatyamanandaji Maharaj. And now we come to the Chancellor's address. I request Swami Subhiranandaji Maharaj, Revered General Secretary of the Ramakrishna Math and the Chancellor of this university, to give the Chancellor's address. Maharaj, please.
Namaste Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Sarupaya Swamine Tapoharine. His Holiness Srimad Swami Bhajananandaji Maharaj, a very revered Vice President of our Holy Order all over the world. Professor V. Kamakoti, Distinguished Director of Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, who is the chief guest in this august ceremony. Swami Atmapriyanandaji, the very respected Pro-Chancellor of RKMVERI and the founder, Vice Chancellor of this great institute. Swami Sarvatyamanandaji, the Vice Chancellor now, and also Swami Kaleshanandaji, the new Registrar of the University, very learned members of the faculties, very dear brother monks and brahmacharyans, and most importantly, sisters and brothers who are students of this esteemed institute, and present here today to receive their degrees. I am really glad to be amidst you in the 18th Convocation ceremony of Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute. The stirs of Convocation are, goes without mention, the graduating students. I would like to offer my hearty congratulations for their excellent performances in the 3-year BA, 2-year MSc, 5-year integrated MA, PG diploma, MPhil, and PhD programs. All the above put together, 263 students from Belur and Narendrapur campuses will receive their degrees today. I would also like to convey my congratulations to the proud parents who I know will reminisce this day with no less fondness than the graduating students. Dear students, how fortunate you are to have studied in and graduated from an institute which is founded on the educational vision of Swami Vivekananda. Today is 4th of July. Today, we remember Swami Vivekananda with tears of gratitude and love in our eyes. We remember 4th July of 1902. Let us have a few glimpses of that day. On the 4th of July morning, Swamiji raised the issue of departure through meditation with disciple Nityananda, but none could realize the significance. After some time, he went to the shrine for worship. It was the last morning of temple worship in Vivekananda's life, but there was a glaring deviation that day. Instead of asking Swami Premananda to do the worship, he entered the temple and did a long worship. Then all heard a Kali Kirtan in Swamiji's magic voice. It was a song on the Mother of the Universe. It was the last song, the voice of the music that brought divine awakening to millions now was not to be heard anymore. Then came the moment of historic self-revelation. It was a soliloquy which Swami Premananda heard. Every word was distinct. Swamiji said, if there were another Vivekananda, he could have understood what this Vivekananda has done. Yet how many Vivekanandas shall be born in time? And the same evening, he finally entered into eternity through meditation, his real abode of which he sang Man Chalo Nijo Niketone to his master at the very first meeting. At noon, at the Last Supper, it was all full of fun and merrymaking. Swamiji ate with unusual relish and told others. Swamiji told others, I quote, the hunger was extreme. After yesterday's fasting, my hunger so increased that with great control, I only left the utensils out. And quote. Even on the last day, he taught with a lot of fun Panini's grammar to the young novices for 3 hours. The same afternoon, he discussed with his brother disciple Swami Premananda the scheme of a Veda Vidyalaya to be established inside the mosque and asked for procuring books on Vedic literature. He wanted the mosque to emerge as a center of Vedic learning in order to kill out superstition about religion that has covered Bengal. He had foreseen the coming up of this Vivekananda University. He predicted that in course of time, the entire Belur Math shall be a university. When evening came, he began to speak to Swami Premananda about the horror of colonization. The specter of British domination was fully in his memory even on the last day. Finally he entered his room, laid down on a bed for meditation, asked the assistant to give him his beads and asked him to wait outside until he called. The last hour passed unnoticed. when his assistant Brajendra heard a long breath. He entered the room and heard that Swamiji was crying softly like a child. Then there was a final long breath. The eyes got fixed, the face flushed with an extraordinary glow, and all was silent forever. The news spread like wildfire. Doctors came and declared him dead at 9 p.m., 47 minutes. Brother disciple Swami Brahmananda, who was in Calcutta, came and embraced his beloved Naren's body with tears and said, "The Himalaya is gone from our eyes." Next early morning, Sister Nivedita came and sat without any tear like a petrified stone and began to fan the Master's body, which was shining with a strange divine light. There were blood clots in his eyes and nose. The whole monastery looked dead as the king was brought below, richly decorated with flowers under his dear sacred mango tree. Finally, they carried him for cremation on the same spot where his temple stands today. Calcutta devotees who came in large number began to cry loudly. Nivedita, by the order of Swami Brahmananda, Girish Ghosh was taken aside. Girish Ghosh began to cry. Girish Ghosh began to cry, "Naren, we expected you to sing the Master's glory by showing our transformed lives. But Thakur took you away. He was gone, yet everyone felt his gigantic living presence. The Ganga flew quietly at the feet of the Shiva in cremation ground. Amid shouts of victory on 4th July 1902, they laid him for rest on the funeral pyre. The energy of those flames flicker even today. Even today, when one looks at his temple, one feels as his boyhood friend felt. I quote, look at the Belur on the right bank of the Ganga. The tumultuous sound of the war drum that had once broken your stupor is hidden there. The radiance of divinity that had once dispelled the darkness of illusion is still there. Those who were thrice blessed with his company are there still living and active, unquote. Again, look at him for the last time. Sitting at the foot of the Himalayas, no one could ever apprehend the Himalayan grandeur in its proper magnitude. In order to realize the profound dimensions of this Himalayan Superman, go thou to Belur, and there, standing on the height of his thoughts, have a glance at him. And yet, quotation continues, and yet, in the midst of the caves and forests of Khandagiri that night, we who followed the Christian story of the resurrection couldn't but feel that behind it and through it glistened a thread of fact, that we were tracing out the actual footsteps left by a human soul somewhere as it trod the glimmering pathway of this fugitive experience. So we believed, so we felt, because in all its elusiveness, a like revelation at a like time had made itself evident to us also. Unquote. Again I quote, may God grant that this living presence of our Master, of which death itself had power to rob us, become never to us, his disciple, as a thing to be remembered, but remain with us always in its actuality, even unto the end. Unquote. As a matter of fact, Swamiji resurrected in Varanasi on 4th July itself in the form of Ramakrishna Mission, Ramakrishna Advaita Ashram Varanasi, which was established on 4th July 1902 itself. Then Swamiji again resurrected on 4th July in the form of Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute in 2005. Nivedita's words were charged with the realization of a living presence. I quote, "It was not of any reappearance of the body at all, but of sudden and unforeseen meetings of the will, returns of thought and love, brief upliftings of prayer from one who in the Vedic phrase had been resumed into his shining self and moved on to subtler and more penetrative planes of action than we, entangled amidst the senses, could conceive." Unquote. Swami Vivekananda predicted, India will rise. One who hath ears to hear can hear the footsteps of a new India, can see the emergence of an India which is respected everywhere in the world today. Swamiji's India thus has ushered in an age, the age of a knowledge society. I hope I shall be excused if I quote here an apt Bengali poem recently published by Sri Subodh Sarkar, a famous Bengali poet of the day and also chairman of the prestigious Academy of Bengali Poetry, Kavita Academy in Kolkata. This poem is titled as Belur. I have requested Atmapriyanandaji to translate it in English, this Bengali poem, and tell you. Sarkar writes, I quote, "আমি একটা কোনায় দাঁড়িয়ে দেখছিলাম দুটি ছেলে গেরুয়া বসন পরে মন্দিরের সিঁড়ি মুছছিল। এত মন দিয়ে আমি কাউকে সিঁড়ি মুছতে দেখিনি। এত ভালোবাসা দিয়ে আমি কাউকে ধুলো তুলতে দেখিনি। সিঁড়ি নয়, যেন জননীর ত্বক থেকে ধুলো তুলছিল। এভাবে কেউ সিঁড়ি থেকে ধুলো মুছতে পারে এ আমি কোথাও দেখিনি। স্থিতপ্রজ্ঞ মহারাজকে জিজ্ঞাসা করলাম, এ ছেলে দুটি কে? মহারাজ মৃদু হেসে বললেন, একজন নিউক্লিয়ার ফিজিসিস্ট, একজন IBM এর 6 লাখ টাকা চাকরি ছেড়ে এখানে এসেছে। সিঁড়ি ধুতে এসেছে, যে সিঁড়ি দিয়ে মানুষ উপরে ওঠে তা যেন পরিষ্কার হয়। মহারাজ চলে গেছেন, সন্ধ্যা নেমে আসছে গঙ্গায়, আমার ভেতরেও নাপছে সন্ধ্যা। সারা পৃথিবীতে এত সিঁড়ি, সিঁড়িতে সিঁড়িতে এত দাগ, এত ক্রোধ, এত অপমান। আরতি শুরুর আগে মনে হলো, যে সিঁড়ি মুছতে পারে না সে কোনোদিন মানুষের চোখের জল মুছতে পারবে না। Today, standing at an academic institution like RKMVERI, the word that oft mentioned in the campus is heard is skill development. Skill development. Indeed, at no point in history was knowledge-based skill valued so much as it is being valued in today's society. Seemingly, to the extent an educational structure is able to stand up to this need of the hour, to that extent, it would seem to have fulfilled what is expected of it. Yet, it's vital to take a pause and reflect whether skill is all that education has to offer. For an answer, let's turn to Bertrand Russell. Bertrand Russell said, I quote, "With every increase of knowledge and skill, wisdom becomes more necessary, for every such increase augments our capacity of realizing our purposes, and therefore augments our capacity for evil if our purposes are unwise. The world needs wisdom as it has never needed it before. And if knowledge continues to increase, the world will need wisdom in the future even more than it does now," Russell says, unquote. Another name for wisdom is values. Indeed, values are which separate the human from animals and make man worthy for living socially, morally, and spiritually. The Indian equivalent of a value is dharma. Dharmena hina pasubhi samanaha. Without dharma, human beings are equivalent to the animals. Without dharma, man is equal to animals. That is the Hitopadesh. It is the integrating principle between man and the distinguishing factor between man and animal. If one were to trace the source of all noble values, which human beings hold so dear, that source will be the immortal divine core of man. It is this divine core which is the sole repository of all human perfection. To the extent man doesn't forget to keep it in touch with this divine core, to that extent man grows in purity, holiness, and unselfishness. In other words, if any human endeavor keeps in piercing attention to this spiritual dimension of human life, it is bound to be productive of great good. And whenever this most vital aspect of human personality is lost sight of, and instead other less important aspects are given prominence, the outcome inevitably is one of despair and desolation, disappointment. This principle is true in every human pursuit, and it is particularly so in the domain of education. That is why Swami Vivekananda considers spirituality as the core of educational system. It may not be out of place to mention here that in one of the official documents which has recently been made public by the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, it is stated that India's, Mr. Kamakoti was giving you the latest statistics. There it is mentioned 1.3 billion people make it second most populous country in the world. You told 1.4 billion now. And at the same time, with an average of 29, it has become one of the youngest populations globally. According to the same report, this vast resource of young citizens is going to give India in the coming years a demographic dividend by means of acting as a repository of digitalized new age skills, by escalating opportunities for new job creation and entrepreneurship, by creating a new category of consumer class, by fascinating a new investment opportunities, and by creating inclusiveness and cultural diversity. This culturally diverse population will bring various language skills, new ways of thinking, innovative ideas and creative solutions to the problems, creating a more productive workforce. From the perspectives of this open market economy, all the above mentioned points are true, but in the 21st century, when the youth of India are also facing new problems apart from economic ones, thoughts of Swami Vivekananda are becoming more significant and at the same time more vibrant. Here, I would like to refer in my own way to a list of these enduring new problems in the form of new tensions revealed in one of the International Education Commission's reports. And these tensions, though not new, becoming central to the problems of the youth of this 21st century. And even we, the spiritual seekers, can in no way bypass or ignore these tensions. These tensions are as follows. Number one, tensions between the global and the local. How can we become world citizens without losing our roots? Is the first question. Second, tensions between the universal and the individual. How can the globalization of relations enrich the unique character of each individual? 3. Tensions between tradition and modernity. How can we adjust with first changes in science and technologies without turning our backs on the past? 4. Tensions between long-term and short-term considerations. That is, how can we create policies that require persistent strategies when the world is continuously changing? 5. Tensions between extraordinary expansion of knowledge through electronic gadgets and human beings' capacity to assimilate it. I personally feel that to live a meaningful life, the Indian youth are to understand the Vivekananda way of empowering the youth at 4 levels, namely physical development, social development, intellectual development, and spiritual development, which will ensure infusing vital forces into our young generations for contending with and withstanding the problems or tensions stated above. At the hazard of oversimplification, we will try to clutch to Swamiji's educational revelations by posing 2 simple questions and letting Swamiji answer this. Our first question to Swamiji is, what is education? Swamiji delivers a wide array of distinctive outlooks. Let's sample a few. Number 1, education is not the amount of information that is put into our brain and runs riot there, undigested all your life. We must have life-building, man-making, character-making assimilation of ideas. 2, does higher education mean mere study of material sciences and turning out things of everyday use by machinery? The use of higher education is to find out how to solve the problems of life. And this is what is engaging the profound thought of the modern civilized world. But it was solved in our country thousands of years ago. Education is the manifestation of perfection already in man, Vivekananda said. The ideal of all education, he said, should be this man-making. But instead of that, we are always trying to polish up the outside. What use in polishing up the outside when there is no inside? The end and aim of all training is to make the man grow. The man who influences, who throws his magic, as it were, upon his fellow beings, is a dynamo of power. And when that man is ready, he can do anything and everything he likes to. That personality put upon anything will make it work. The kernel that emerges from the sage verse is that education is truly a liberating force. It frees a person from the slavery of instinctive life and sets him on the path of perfection. If it fails to do that, then education is not worth this thing. Our second question to Swamiji would be, I quote, how is this education to be achieved? That is the second question that we pose to Swamiji Maharaj. To this, Swamiji answers in the first person. I quote, if I had to do my education over again, Swamiji says, if I had to do my education over again, and had any voice in the matter, I would not study facts at all. I would develop the power of concentration and detachment. And then with a perfect instrument, I could collect facts at will, unquote. In fact, in today's society, plagued with various types of attention deficiency disorders, we can well appreciate the supreme importance of concentration in the context of learning. Therefore, Swamiji's educational philosophy emphasizes that true education ought to develop the character of a man and equip him with the skill for solving life's problems. And this has to be accomplished by evolving the powers of mind. In other words, Swamiji's educational training, educational vision is composed to turn out skill-strong and value-strong individuals by proper training of their mental faculties. Verily, standing as we do at the junctions of a sunset culture, we can disregard the educational philosophy of Swamiji only at our existential threat, only with the threat of our own existence. Now, from these educational ideas of Swamiji, it is possible to derive some important traits of an educated person. In particular, education endows one with self-respect and self-confidence. Man is divine by nature, so one must cease to have a low self-esteem of oneself, for that verily goes against one's essential divine nature. True education helps us to recognize this supreme fact. Self-confidence is a concomitant virtue of self-respect. For one who has true self-respect becomes naturally confident of achieving the highest goal. In one of his letters, Swamiji exhorted his disciples in the following verse, I quote, "What makes you weep, my friend? In you is all power. In you is all power. Summon up your all-powerful nature, mighty one, and this whole universe will lie at your feet. It is the self alone that predominates and not matter." Unquote. Dear graduates, never disremember that it is to this magnificent educational lineage that you belong to. So you can well envision the responsibility that you would be carrying now and to prove your worth as the alumnus of this great and esteemed institute. Therefore, in a society beset with selfishness and self-aggrandizement, it is mandatory on each of you to demonstrate your moral wealth as an unselfish person. In fine, I join with our learned Pro-Chancellor in welcoming you all to this august ceremony. Indeed, being held as it is in the vicinity of Belur Math, the usual somber ambience of this function has a charming effect on all of us. Before I conclude, I pray for the blessings of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Sri Sharda Devi, and Swami Vivekananda Maharaj, for all of us here. Let us salute the General of the militia, which is Ramakrishna Math and Mission today, spread over all over the world. And you very well know who this general is. He is Vivekananda. The Vasco da Gama discovered the soil of India. Vivekananda discovered the soul of India. We salute our beloved Swamiji Maharaj. Like a young Napoleon of Vedanta, Vivekananda stood on both sides of the Atlantic. Like a young Sankara, he radiated the power and bliss of self-knowledge. With Midas' devotion and Beethoven's exuberance, he sang paeans of praise to all saints and sages, to all gods and prophets. Like a young prince, he charmed and elevated whoever came to him. Like a young Buddha, he could and did enter into the highest transcendence of Nirvana, the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, either at Cape Parsi or London, in the very presence of his listeners. Like a young Christ, he lay stretched on the pyre that he lit for himself after a life of superhuman struggle for the good of humanity. Like a young Shiva, he entered his habitual realm of transcendence after drinking the poison of human suffering. This is the finale of Vivekananda's life. He remains and he will remain an eternal symbol of purity, service, and renunciation in the fullness of divinity and perfection. His gospel of a new religion, a new man, and a new scripture is being preached through his dream mission, which is named as Ramakrishna Mission. Before I wrap up, I express my profound gratitude to revered Vice President Maharaj for kindly blessing this convocation with his holy presence. I also profoundly express my gratitude to Swami Atma Priyanandaji, who is the founder, Vice Chancellor of this great and esteemed institute, and also presently the Pro-Chancellor. I equally express my gratitude for all the kind gestures shown to me by the Vice Chancellor, learned Vice Chancellor, Swami Sarvottomanandaji. Also, I am extremely grateful to Professor Kamakoti, who has spared his valuable time and added new last year to this convocation ceremony. I thank all of you. I wish you all the best. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, revered Maharaj, for the Chancellor's address. And thank you especially for taking us through the last day of Swamiji's stay in his physical body by giving us a wonderful, vivid description of the last day, how he spent it. Swamiji spoke at length about Swamiji's ideas, physical development, mental development, moral development, what education should lead us to. For your information, Revered Subirananji Maharaj has spent every single day of his life in this order in educational institutions. So what he tells you is from direct experience. Please value it very highly. Thank you, Maharaj. And now we come to what young students have been waiting for eagerly for the last many 2 years, I guess. Award of prizes and medals to the toppers and conferment of degrees and diplomas. The announcement will be made by Swami Shastri Vidyanandaji, Deputy Controller of Examinations. Please take over.
Hari Om Tat Sat. So I call the names of the graduates, and the candidates are requested to come forward to the dais to receive their degrees and certificates, medals, awards, etc. So first I'll call PhD in Mathematics, Belur campus, Bikramjit Kundu, absent. Doipayan Majumdar. Doipayan Majumdar, his father or any member has come? Okay. So absent. Next, PhD in Sanskrit, Belur campus, Sujit Pramanik. Okay. This, okay. PhD in Sanskrit, Sujit Pramanik. Next, Karthik Mete. Next, Orupam Sannal. Next, please be ready, Krishna Gopal Patra, Soumitra Acharya, Subhadip Pal. Krishna Gopal Patra. Soumitra Acharya. Subhadip Pal. Next, PhD in Sports Science, Subhasis Biswas. PhD in Sports Science, Subhasis Biswas. Next, MPhil in Sanskrit, Buddhadev Das, Chandan Mukherjee, Rajesh Adhikari, Rajkumar Mondal, Shanti Ghosh, Shubhankar Das Vedanta, Shubhankar Das Vyakarana, Uttam Ghosh. Buddhadev Das. Chandan Mukherjee. Rajesh Adhikari. Rajkumar Mondal. Shanti Ghosh absent. Shubhankar Das Vedanta. Shubhankar Das Vyakarana. Next, Uttam Ghosh. Now the first rank holders of different programs. First, Udbhas Das, MSc in Big Data Analytics. So the topper prize is instituted by Sri Subodh Krishna Roy Chaudhary, Dr. Sudhir Kumar Biswas. Next, Premangshu Chatterjee, MSc in Computer Science. The gold medal and gold medal certificates, complete works of Swami Vivekananda, 8 volumes, Youth Power and the Power of Ideas. Premangshu Chatterjee, MSc in Computer Science. The toppers prize instituted by Sri Subodh Krishna Roy Chaudhary, Sri Jyoti Prakash Ghosh, Dr. Sudhir Kumar Biswas. The prize contains the gold medal certificate, complete works of Swami Vivekananda, Youth Power and the Power of Ideas. Next, Saurajyoti Maiti, MSc in Mathematics. Gold medal certificate, complete works of Swami Vivekananda, Youth Power and the Power of Ideas. Then Thakurma Swamiji photo. So toppers prize is instituted by Miss Uma Basu, Sri Sapan Kumar Datta, Dr. Sudhir Kumar Biswas. Next, Orko Bhattacharya, MSc in Physics. So gold medal certificate, Computer Works of Swami Vivekananda, Youth Power and the Power of Ideas, Memento, Sovereignty Memorial, Thakurma Swamiji photo. So the toppers prize is instituted by Srimati Kalpana Sarkar, Sri Somnath Sarkar, Miss Uma Basu, Sri Sapon Kumar De in memory of Sovereignty De, Sri Sapon Kumar Datta, Dr. Sudhir Kumar Biswas. Next, Divakar Chakraborty, MA in Sanskrit Advaita Vedanta. The toppers prize is instituted by Sri Gopal Chandra Bayan, Sri Siddhartha Sen, Sri Sapon Kumar Datta. Next, Raju Ghosh, MA in Sanskrit Vyakarana. The toppers prize instituted by Sri Gopal Chandra Bayan, Sri Siddhartha Sen, Dr. Sapon Kumar Datta. Sangita Maiti, MA in Sanskrit Vyakarana, female candidate. Next, Sangita Maiti. The toppers prize instituted by Sri Gopal Chandra Bayan, Sri Siddhartha Sen, Dr. Sapon Kumar Datta. Next, Rohan Sadra, MSc in Agricultural Biotechnology. The toppers prize instituted by Srimati Leena Bose, Dr. Sudhir Kumar Biswas. Next, Srijan Samanto, MSc in Agriculture and Rural Development, Narendrapur. The toppers prize instituted by Srimati Leena Bose, Sri Siddhartha Sen, Dr. Sudhir Kumar Biswas. Next, Nirupama Singha, MSc in Environment and Disaster Management. The toppers prize instituted by Srimati Leela Chakraborty, Srimati Suhasini Kaustav Shukla. Next, Ananya Dhar, MSc Agriculture in Agronomy, Narendrapur campus. The toppers prize instituted by Sri Siddhartha Sen, Mrs. Prema Multagi, Sri Tapon Kumar Singha. Next, Malavika Khan, MSc Agriculture in Genetics and Plant Breeding, Narendrapur. The toppers prize instituted by Srimati Leena Bose, Sri Tapon Kumar Roy, Dr. Sudhir Kumar Biswas. Next, Sontu Pal, MSc in Medical Biotechnology, Narendrapur. The toppers prize instituted by Dr. Maitreyi Chandra, Srimati Somana Panja, Sri Kaustav Shukla. Next, Abhijit Das, BA Honours in Sanskrit Vyakarana. The toppers prize instituted by Sri Gopal Chandra Bayan, Srimati Leela Chakraborty, Sri Sapan Kumar Datta. Next, Krishnandu Bera, BA Honours in Sanskrit Advaita Vedanta. The toppers prize instituted by Sri Gopal Chandra Bayan, Srimati Lalita Chakraborty, Sri Sapan Kumar Datta. नहीं और होगा टॉपर्स हो गया
टॉपर्स ये भी है
हाँ ये ग्रुप में आई So next I'll call the to receive the convocation degree for different programs. The candidates will come as a batch on the dais. Okay. So MSc in Big Data Analytics, Belur campus, Anirban Chakraborty, Aritra Saha, Arnab Datta Chaudhary, Arpan Datta, Debayan Datta, Iqbal Hussain, Kamal Budhari, Kaji Jisan Jaman, Krishnakanta Maiti, Manjish Majumdar, Nilabja Ghosh, Prakash Samanta, Rajat Gar, Ratul Chakraborty, S. Arvind, Saikat Patra, Samrat Ghosh, Shivaji Sarkar, Somajyati Das, Sirum Mitra, Subham Samanta, Subhajit Sarkar, Udbhas Das, Ujjwal Chaudhary. যারা যারা লম্বা আছে তাদের আর যারা ছোট আছে তাদের সামনে দেন Next, MSc in Computer Science, Belur. Adesh Das, Anupam Roy, Arkadip Maitra, Arjak Sen, Devapam Roy, Dipanjan Maiti, Hardik Ghoshal, Kaustav Ghosh, Kaustav Das, Kunal Bagh, Premangshu Chatterjee, Pritam Mukherjee, Rajarshi Mondal, Ritik De, Sayak Das, Somen Haldar, Subhankar Nag. Next, MSc in Mathematics, Belur. অম্লান সিনহা, অনিকেত পাল, অঙ্কুশ কুণ্ডু, অর্ণব শীল, অতনু সাহা, দেবান্বিতা হাজরা, দীপাঞ্জন সাহা, কেয়া গুছাইত, কিশলয় সরকার, ময়ূরাক্ষী বিশ্বাস, মৌলি কয়াল, প্রতাপ মণ্ডল, পৃথা সরকার, প্রিয়াঙ্কা মাঝি, রাহুল ঘোষ, রিক মহান্তি, সাগ্নিক রায়চৌধুরী, সংহিতা আচার, সঞ্জিত দে, সাত্বিক মল্লিক, সায়ন্তনী ধর, সোহিনী মুখার্জি, সোমাশ্রী মাইতি, সৌরজ্যোতি মাইতি, শ্রোতা প্রধান, সুমন মাইতি, রাহুল সাহু। সামনে একটা রো করো, অনেকে আছে সামনে। Next, MSc in Physics, Belur. অমন যশ, অর্ক ভট্টাচার্য, অর্কপ্রভা দে, অর্কপ্রভা শীল, অভিপ্সা চক্রবর্তী, ভাস্কর মণ্ডল, দেবাঞ্জন দে সরকার, দেবযানী নিয়োগী, দীপনজিৎ বোস, ধর্মরাজ গুইন, গৌরব পাল, কৃতিকা অধিকারী, মধুশ্রী রায়চৌধুরী, মরিয়ম মমতাজ, মোহাম্মদ সাজিদ রহমান, নিবেদিতা সেন, পরমেশ মহাপাত্র, রাহুল মেটিয়া, রাহুল রয়, শান্তনু মাইতি, সন্তু কুমার মান্না, শ্রেয়া চৌধুরী, শিবাশিস পাল, সোনাক্ষী সাহা, সৌম্যদীপ ঘোষ, শ্রেয়া চ্যাটার্জি, সুগ্রীব মণ্ডল, সুতীর্থ পাল, স্বাগত ঘোষ, তোয়াসুন মণ্ডল, বিশাল খাঁ। Next, Master of Arts, Integrated BA Honors plus MA in Sanskrit, male candidates. Berur campus, Abir Mondol, Ashish Mondol, Dibakar Chakraborty, Lokhikanto Bhatta, Nirmal Sarkar, Raju Ghosh, Rakasasi Panda, Samrat Samanta, Soumajit Acharya, Subham Layak, Suradip Bandyopadhyay. Master of Arts, Integrated BA Honors plus MA in Sanskrit, female candidates. Belur campus, Ankona Khana, Brishti Saha, Sangita Maiti, Satabdi Mondal, Snigdha Bera, Suparna Bag, Sutanuka Ghosal. MSc in Sports Science, Belur campus, Malay Kumar Haid, Niladri Chowdhury, Rangan Pan. Narendrapur campus, MSc in Agricultural Biotechnology, Amrita De, Amrita Datta, Debolina Roy, Dipayan Kundu, Joita Mollik, Kinkor Mondal, Kumari Monisha, Ningomam Linina, Prajwal Datta, Pratyay Datta, Rajarsi Gayan, Rejul Sheikh, Riddik Chatterjee, Rohan Sadra, সৌম্যব্রত গাঙ্গুলি, সায়ন্তনী দত্ত, সোহন ভট্টাচার্য, সৌমি ঘোষ, সুদীপ্তা সিনহা রায়, সুরেশ পাল, তোরসা দাস, তৃষা দাস, সুকান্ত রায়। So students are requested after taking the degree, please take your seat again. So students are repeatedly requested after taking their certificates, please come back to the auditorium hall and take their seats. Next, MSc in Agriculture and Rural Development, Narendrapur. অয়নিকা দত্ত, বাপন বর্মন, দীপজ্যোতি গঙ্গোপাধ্যায়, কিতা পুঙ্গে পামে, মোহাম্মদ ইকবাল, নাহালি ঘোষ, পরমা বিশ্বাস, পৌলমী ঘোষ, প্রণমিকা প্রধান, রচনা দাস, ঋদ্ধি পাল, রিয়া রয়, রোহিত কুমার দাস, রনি দত্ত, রূপম রয়, সমর্পিতা ভট্টাচার্য, সন্দীপ সাহা, সন্দীপন ভট্টাচার্য, সায়ন সাহা, সায়ন্তন দাস, সায়ন্তন মণ্ডল, শ্রেয়া হাজরা, শেখ সাহিল হোসেন, সৌভিক কুণ্ডু, শ্রয়শ্রী সাহা, সৃজন সামন্ত, সুতপা অধিকারী, তমাম মিত্র। বই দেখা যাবে না? Next, MSc in Environment and Disaster Management. অভিষেক কর, অনামিকা সরকার, অনুষ্কা সাহা, বিভাস ঘোষ, দিয়া রয়, নেহা দত্ত, নিরুপমা সিংহ, রেশমি হাজরা, ঋত্বিক সাধুখা, সৌমিক সাধুখা, সায়নী ঘোষ, সৌমিক রায়চৌধুরী, সৌপর্ণ ভট্টাচার্য, ভি রোহিত কুমার। Next, MSc Agriculture in Agronomy, Narendrapur. Agnim Mondal, Ananya Dhar, Dipanjan Chakraborty, Madhurima Bauri, Moumita Roy, Prasun Chatterjee, Projjal Saha, Soikat De, Somdeep Chatterjee, Soujanya Jana, Shobhadeep Kaur. MSc Agriculture in Genetics and Plant Breeding, Narendrapur. Abhishek Biswas, Afrin Ahmed, Archisman Mondal, Arkadyoti Das, Dhiman Nandi, Kaushik Mukherjee, Kaustubh Roy, Malavika Khan, Manasi Kumari, Mohammad Mesbahur Rahman, Meghna Saha, Sritama Sarkar, Tiasa Pal. MSc in Medical Biotechnology, Narendrapur. Ayanabha Sarkar, Kaushik Nayak, Meghna Mondal, Navakumar Mondal, Rishabh Kaur, Santu Pal, Shreyasi Ghosh, Shreyasri Jana, Sheikh Razzaq Hussain, Soumajit Nag, Saurabh Kundu, Srijani Ghosh, Shubhadeep Chakraborty, Sumita Chatterjee, Sutanu Acharya Chaudhary, Seda Taufika. BA Honours in Sanskrit, Belur, Deepak S, Manojit Pramanik. Basic course in Sanskrit and Philosophy, Nitish Rai Parwani. Postgraduate Diploma in Post Harvest and Food Technology, Narendrapur. Anamika Mondal, Anvesha Das, Argho Niyogi, Astha Mondal, Biswadip Saha, Debanjan Devgupta, Gaurav Nandi, Poulami Mridha, Priyanka Sarkar, Rakib Islam Mulla, Sandipan Mukherjee, Souni Ghosh, Sital Bera, Saurabh Maiti, Subhamoy Ghosh, Sujoy Das, Sunanda Maiti, Surad Samui, Swati Chatterjee. Om Sri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.
Congratulations to all the candidates today who got medals, gold medals, certificate, merits of honor, certificate, diplomas, etc. Thank you, Swami Shastri Vidyanandaji, for doing this marathon task. And now I request the Vice Chancellor of the University, so Mr. Uttamanandaji Maharaj, to kindly propose a vote of thanks.
नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरये सच्चित सुखद स्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे. We are moving towards the end of this program, and the very pleasant duty of the vote of thanks, of proposing the vote of thanks, falls on me. First of all, I would like to congratulate the graduating students, and I would like to make pranams, give my pranams and heartful thanks to our revered Vice President Maharaj, Swami Bhajananandji, to grace this occasion and give his blessings to us. I would like to thank the Chancellor of this university and General Secretary of Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission, Swami Subiranji Maharaj, for the Chancellor's address. I would like to thank our chief guest who had delivered the convocation address today, Professor V. Kamakoti. He has found time in his, even though even though his schedule is very busy, we know, but he is our devotee. So as soon as Maharaj asked him to grace this occasion, he readily agreed to give the convocation address. So we heartily thank him. My thanks to Swami Atmapriyananji Maharaj, Pro-Chancellor of the University, to deliver the welcome address. I would like to thank Swami Kaleshayanji Maharaj, Swami Shastra Vidyananji Maharaj and his team who have successfully organized this program. I would like to thank Swami Atmeshwaranji Maharaj. He is a finance officer of the university for conducting today's program. He was the compere of this program. I would like to thank faculty members for their excellent teaching and living guidance to the students. I extend my thanks to all the staff of the university, especially my thanks to Sarda Peeth and Vidya Mandir, who provided us the venue for today's program. I would like to thank our well-wishers and the parents and friends of the students who attended today's program and make the programs successful. Lastly, I would like to thank our brother monks and sannyasis, brahmacharis, who are present in this program for their blessings. Thank you very much. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
And last but not the least, we have to thank Swami Sarottamanaji Maharaj, the Vice Chancellor, for proposing the vote of thanks. So what now remains is only the concluding song, after which I request all of you to collect the refreshment boxes, the prasad boxes from those behind those exit doors, right and behind you. Already taken. That's nice. Well begun is half done. Anyway, the last item remains now, the concluding song. Huh? He'll be singing the Murta Maheshwara, the song Murta Maheshwara Swamiji, composed by Swamiji's disciple, Sharachandra Chakravarti. Before that, one last item from the compere of this function. We have heard a lot about Swamiji's ideas on education today, man-making, character-building education. You're all aware that in today's society, corruption reigns very highly. Tons of money, public money is being looted. The basis of all this is lack of character. I remember as a student, your age, when I was your age, somewhere I had read, if wealth is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. But if character is lost, everything is lost. So please remember Swamiji's advice, warning again and again. What we want is man-making, character-building education, building education. We need this. And now we come to the concluding song. Maharaj, please begin.
अभिरभिहोङ्कारनादितदिङ्मुख प्रचण्डताण्डवनृत्यम् अभिरभिहोङ्कारनादितदिङ्मुख प्रचण्डताण्डवनृत्यम् मूर्तमहेश्वरमोज्ज्वलभास्करमेष्टममर नरवन्द्यम् भुक्ति मुक्ति कृपा कटाक्ष प्रेक्षण मागदल विदलन दाक्षम् बालचन्द्रधरमिन्दुवन्द्यमिह नौमि जय श्री गुरु महाराज